Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about how I keep track of devices in Addigy, whether it's old devices or devices that haven't checked in a long time. So starting with devices that haven't checked in a long time, this is first and foremost a policy issue, making sure that in your regular offboarding procedures or decommissioning procedures that techs are going in or you are going in and deleting devices when they are to be removed. That being said, there are definitely scenarios where that gets missed. So we need to have a way to figure that out. Jumping over to our Addigy here, I will start with showing you the end product. So what happens is I have a monitoring alert that tells me if a device hasn't checked in for 30 days, a monitoring item gets put into it and I know I need to go check on it and see if it's just a spare computer that we are keeping around for the customer or if it's a decommissioned computer that got missed. So you can see I have two devices in here. Both of them are saying that a fact offline hours that is reporting a large value here. So the way I handle them is if the devices are spares like these ones are, I will typically just come in here and mute them for another 30 days and check back in 30 days to see if they need removed then. If they do need removed, obviously I go into devices and I delete them if it is applicable. So let's take a look at the back end of how I set that up. So there are two pieces of this. There is the Addigy built fact of offline hours. So this offline hours fact is not actually something that can be seen in the device page. It's only available in like the monitoring items and things like that on the back end. So let's go over and look at our monitoring items. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for my offline hours monitoring item and take a look at it here. So all this is saying is the device fact of offline hours is greater than or equals to 720, which is 30 days. And when that happens, it also sends me a notification to our Slack channel. That way it just gives me a push notification version of the same thing in Addigy. Now, like I mentioned before, this device fact is not actually viewable on like the devices page. So if we look at a device here and we search for offline hours, it doesn't actually show up anything. So it's only available like on the back end and when you're using things like monitoring items. The other side of keeping track of devices is making sure that like old devices are being brought up to customers that, hey, you're probably going to want to refresh these. So the other side of this is making sure that we are keeping track of when devices are getting old. And there's a couple different ways to do that. So I have a custom fact, which I'll show you in a second, that just pulls the model and year into a custom fact. So you could do some filtering on that. You can see that here it just reports the model name, if it's what kind of display it is, and then its year. So we could say that if we don't want any computers from 2018, we could come in here and we could filter for model and year. And we could say that it contains 2018. So I can see I have one computer from 2018 in here. I should maybe reach out to this user and think about getting that device replaced. The other way you can do this is by checking the latest operating system support. Maybe you have a policy in place where computers have to be able to run the latest Mac OS. The way you could handle that is by, again, filtering here and saying Mac OS Sequoia support equals false. That's going to say anything. Is there anything that does not support macOS Sequoia for this customer? And you can see that I have two computers here that do not support Sequoia. So that would be another indicator that maybe those computers are too old and should be replaced. But again, that's more of a policy decision. This is just a way to help you find those devices. You could also create flex policies that go and grab these devices for you as it finds them, if you want to do it that way as well. But you can also just do a filter here. You can even export this and send that to a customer and say, hey, here are the devices that we think need to be upgraded this year. You can do that by going to Tools and Export Data. I recommend doing the visible data only and adding the fields you want ahead of time. If you do all data, it's going to pull in every fact for that computer, and that can be a lot of information to sift through. So let's take a look real quick at that model and year custom fact that I have. It's a pretty simple script that is just going and grabbing the model and name from the using the serial number lookup. I did not write this myself. I'm sure I grabbed it off the internet somewhere. I don't remember exactly where it came from, so I apologize. for that, but it does work really well. And of course, you could customize this a little bit if you wanted it to pull some other information as well. That's it for today's video. I hope this video gave you some ideas on how to strategize keeping track of old and outdated devices. If you have any questions about this process or anything else with Addigy or MDM in general, we'd love to help answer those questions for you. You can either drop a comment on this video and ask that question and we'll try to answer it in a later video, or you can reach out to me directly at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, Marshall@CranstonInc.com via email, or on our website at CranstonIT.com. Thanks so much for watching.